Reading diversely, what does it mean? Let's talk about it. This word keeps being thrown around. Diverse. What does diverse mean? What is the actual definition that people are attributing it to when it comes to reading diversely? It seems to be very problematic in that it just means black or like Asian or like a person of of a different color skin than yours, which diverse can mean that, but it's also very much a color thing, which I think is wrong. It just is not. It's problematic. That's the word that I'm using. It's very problematic in that I'm Hispanic, so for me, reading diversely can be reading white, can be reading black, can be reading whatever. But to me, reading diversely is reading something outside of what I'm like my comfort zone, which would be like I've mentioned before, YA. It's reading something that I'm not used to reading. So maybe reading Hispanic books are reading diversely for me, and can be, of course, for many other people. But there's this whole side to it that's just like people are just using this term over and over again for the past year to like feel better that they're going outside of the usual, and like the whole we need diverse books campaign that has been like brought up is awesome because it's highlighting all these authors that should be highlighted, but at the same time it's like why, like, just because this has gotten all this attention, is that why you're doing it? To be like, oh, I'm doing it too, kind of like to put attention. It's all about like numbers sometimes on YouTube. I feel like instead of just actually doing it because you want to, like, I feel like you shouldn't be forced to read something that you don't want to read. Like before, I definitely felt myself, like, sometimes in the past year I felt myself being like, why am I reading this, like looking underneath. And sometimes it was because, oh, I heard of it when someone was like talking about reading diversely. They mentioned a bunch of authors, so I heard of it and it sounded interesting, and I ended up really liking it. And some of the books on my favorites list that I wrote about were some of these books that like I went out of my comfort zone to read. And I think that's the point for me, that reading diversely is like reading something that you're not used to, reading outside of your normal reading experience. It might be your normal like life experience or just what you read on a day-to-day basis. And I just think that there's been too much focus on the actual word and not too much focus on what we should be doing, and like the different there's so many different things that come behind this word. Like there's so many different layers to diversity itself, and we should be discussing that as well. And I've seen several links to things like the different Asian authors, different like a huge list of African American authors that was made forever ago as well. And it's just like these are broadening my eyes, of course, because I didn't even know about a bunch of like the different ones from different countries, because sometimes just different specific countries are highlighted, like pushed up more than others. So I think that's what should be talked about. And these are just my thoughts, because I just kind of thought the whole thing was becoming too much focus on the word and not enough like talking about what reading diversely actually meant. So yeah, let me know your thoughts because I'm interested to know. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.